Hi.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I hate when live streams start with that countdown bullshit.
They
Hi,
added
guys.
all these features on StreamYard, so I was like, let's throw it up there and see how it
They
goes.
added features, but then took away features.
Yeah, they made it way harder to use.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Heather.
Happy Friday.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Gabrielle. Hi, Andy. Hi, Kate. Hey, Wicked Witch of the West. And hey, Jayshua. Oh, Jayshua, you like the countdown. Oh.
Yeah.
Hi, Gabrielle.
There's a whole bunch of little features. Hey, guys, we watched the episode and we are both heated. And we have so many comments. And guess what, guys? Breaking news. Joan listened to the Writer's Room podcast.
Okay. Now, listened is very a big word for that. I actually listened to 2 minutes of it and then turned it off. I could not listen to more than that. I did though skip to the middle of it.
Oh, that's why you found that so quickly. I'm like, how did he catch up to me already?
I opened it, skipped to the middle, because ultimately I wanted to hear the motivation behind the deodorant in the restaurant, because I just know that's something hilarious that MPK saw or heard someone tell him that they saw in a restaurant and he had to throw it in. Hey, Jordan.
Okay, so I have a couple little oh god, it wasn't stuff for okay, you guys. Okay, now I know I talk about the Writers Room podcast all the time, but the episode itself was what I would consider, I said to John, is like a jukebox musical, which is a musical on Broadway where they have a bunch of songs. Mamma Mia is a jukebox musical where they take songs and then they kind of put together a loose story to make sure that these songs work. That's what this is with jokes, because if you listen to it, they just go out in their real life, bring a hilarious thing that happened to them, and then they just try to weave together a story. This episode seemed like a cut, in Vanderpump Rules after the reunion, they'll play here's some cut scenes. Never before.
Yeah,
that's what this episode was.
Is what they would call them. Yeah, it didn't really move the story much along, except that we got allegedly the hottest sex scene in all of Sex and the City history. Guys, take a wild guess. Which one was that? Could you decipher which is the hottest sex scene?
Can I play that right now, right at the top?
Sure.
They've had a great sex life. That sex scene between the two of them, I'm going on the record on this podcast, where
he's behind her?
Comes and he doesn't, and her hands are in his mouth, and he's licking her fingers.
Go, baby, go.
And of course, the thing I love most about it is they both play it. Seema's gone, and then they start laughing. And the idea of going from passionate, out of control sex into them laughing and her being surprised. Who are you? When he just introduces himself. And then she says that most important thing, did you come? And he says, no, I have all night. Now,
baby, when I hear that the crystal stick deodorant wearing gardener didn't come in me, oh boy, baby. Wow.
I love when I'm ready to go to sleep and the guy's like, no, I haven't come yet. And I have all night. I'm like, well, bye. I guess it's you in your hand for the rest of the night because I'm done.
I'm sorry too. Maybe you're doing some Kama Sutra something, but a guy does not need to, after 2 hours, does not need to keep going.
I don't know what I want to do. I didn't in college. I wanted to. Also, watching the scene was bad enough, but then hearing Michael Patrick King retell
He's like,
it.
yeah.
So
when she stuck her fingers in his mouth, and then the really important part,
most important thing,
when she says, "Did you come?" and he says, "No, I have all night."
Do any women out there, do we want to hear no? I mean, I have a very low sex drive, but I would be like, come on, dude.
Well,
I'm 60.
I guess there's oh my God. I was just gonna say there's delusions. I guess there are, what are those called? Nymphos, I think.
Sure. I don't think SEMA is that. Okay, so here we got some chicks in the chat being like, fuck no.
Ew. I don't want to have sex for 2 hours. My good God.
And can you imagine if a guy did this to you? If you were like, oh my God, who are you? And he was like, I'm Adam. Nice to meet you. I'd be like, get out. Sketch comedy, improv theater right now.
I definitely would. I don't know. Be disgusted. Though I'll say, guys, I was ultimately really disgusted because Aiden's back.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh God, and he just sucks. He sucks so much. But they clearly don't want, like, they don't, the writers are trying to write him off because the way they talk about it is very like, ooh, we have a secret.
Well, and guys, guess what? The reason is that the moment the moment that Wyatt got back from his outdoors camp, he said, I'm moving to Kathy's. Now, why, you might ask?
Yeah.
Why, you might ask? Mm-hmm. He just hates me.
With Aiden being, okay, here's the other thing that the writers apparently forgot that they already took care of in the storyline. When Aiden tells Carrie 5 years, it'll be gone, like, when that happens, Carrie says, why doesn't he go live with Kathy? And Aiden says he can't live with Kathy because she's out of town all the time. So that was already taken care of in the writing last season. But I guess now he can just live with Kathy.
Yeah, but LTW's dad died previously. Right. So it's just nothing matters. There is no time and space on this show. I had a thought in my head, and
I got one about Aiden since we're on Aiden. Now, the writers now hate Aiden, and the thing that they're focusing in on is that Aiden just doesn't get writing, and they're using Aiden as a scapegoat. They said this as a scapegoat for their own personal lives and how annoying it is when all of the people around them don't get it. They don't get writing and what writing.
They're using Aiden for that.
Yeah, they're like, Aiden just doesn't get it. And I'm like, but that was never established in his character in Sex and the City that he didn't get that she needed to write. In fact, when he's redoing her floor, she goes to a hotel because she has to write, and then she has sex with Big.
I might ask that there is a slight difference between her needing to write and her needing to spend hours with her hot British writer under neighbor guy, pining over the pages of their book. I understand questioning that. So what? Because that's what happens is they fuck. The moment Aiden shows up, Carrie's atrocious that he could possibly want to use any space in her closet, but
that scene was referencing their big fight. That was their big fight. That was that. Everyone knows it. I'm like, I didn't get that. You did not make that obvious enough. The whole scene with them in their closet, every scene of them in their closet was them throwing it back to the old days. I'm like, well, you didn't do a very good job. I didn't get that at all.
Nice try. Back to the drawing board. Oh, wait, guys, in the Writers Room podcast, in the 2 minutes I listened to.
Oh God, this
actually was where I stopped. Was some dumbass. Oh God, sorry, that's rude. One of the writers, they're talking and they're like, yeah, in the original version of this, we blah, blah, blah. And then someone just jumps in and is like, yeah, guys, we do rewrites on this.
They hate us. They hate their audience so much.
I will say, I got a call from my mom, which was very sweet. My mom actually could be watching or have this playing in the background right now. She calls me right before this and is like, hey, are you going on your live? I'll be quick. I saw this article this morning and it said that a bunch of people are doing this thing called hate watching.
Oh,
and just like that.
So
and I was like,
happy.
I just thought that was sweet because literally last week we were like, who doesn't know what hate watching is? No,
millennials know.
That's sweet.
That's so cute. I have a question here about Aiden. Now, I can't stand Aiden, but like, does Carrie kind of treat him like shit? Is she like openly very like kind of abusive to him at this point?
I just kind of don't get a lot of it. I don't know why your person would do that and then come right. Like, why? The whole thing is weird because, in my opinion, if Aiden shows up randomly, his expectations are like, oh, you're now going to stay with me and we're going to be together this whole time and you're not going to leave. But at the same time, I also do think it's kind of weird to be like, well, I've got to go and sit on the lap of my, again, hunky, hot, British writer, brooding neighbor underneath. I'm going to ride him a little bit about his pages.
Yeah, is she an idiot? Because here's the thing, Carrie. Yes. You and Aiden have a pretty severe history of you cheating on him. So I can't imagine that Carrie doesn't know in her head that Aiden is clearly threatened by this guy. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Well,
do this writing session.
Remember 2 weeks ago when she didn't care that he cheated on her, that Aiden cheated on her?
Right.
So maybe
I do like the idea, if this is where they are going, that Aiden now is like, oh, now I can stay. And Carrie's like, oh, fuck. Because that would be a good turning point of, oh, it turns out I actually don't want you here in my space.
Well, maybe
that's how they ended it, right?
I think that's where it's going to lead to.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he's going to be there a whole month, right? Allegedly.
Yeah. Latasha says, Carrie has been sure with a lot of people. Are they going to reference this back to her dealing with grief? No, I think they're going to forget that Big even existed. Remember when there was a storyline where Carrie had dementia? And speaking of which, this Vertigo storyline, first of all, the writers each knows somebody with vertigo. Every writer, vertigo. But then when it comes to alcoholism, they're like, we didn't want to really touch it. We need to address vertigo.
Guys, we will get to Miranda's alcoholism or whatever.
Yeah. It's egregious.
Gobsmacked. I can't believe. Well, it makes sense that they would know people have vertigo because, guys, again, listen to the writer's room, and it is, no offense to people, but it is like 75-year-olds on there. It's like, I'm like, what is it?
Also, another revelation that I learned last night that I texted John, not a single writer is single. Everyone is in a long-term relationship. And I was like, that explains so much. Every single writer is in a long-term relationship. There is not a single writer in there. And I would argue somebody with alcoholism. In fact, when they talked about vertigo, they're like, oh, no one believes vertigo. It's so, we knew we needed to address this.
Why did they need to address that?
Because they know so many people they said that. They all know it's such a trope. I'm like, no, it isn't. I believe people have vertigo.
I need to figure out how they come across these things, like, because they like, which comes first? Like, was the bed art piece the first idea? And they're like, how do we get Charlotte into this bed?
They said it. They said the entire storyline was so that Charlotte ended up on the bed and that Bonnie Milligan can make the cum comment.
Are you kidding me? Bonnie Milligan had a terrible joke where she's like, the Emperor's new cum. What the fuck did that have to do with anything?
How about the fact that Epstein Bar was referred to twice, and I was like, that just shows that there's no even millennials on this writing staff, because I had to look up what Epstein Bars is. It's herpes. No one refers to it as that. That is like a joke for boomers.
What?
That's what herpes used to be called, is Epstein Bar. So when they have a 20-year-old say, oh, I thought vertigo was just a myth like Epstein Bar, I'm like, this girl has never heard of Epstein Bar.
There was another really out of touch line too, and I can't remember if it was about coffee. It was about something very like weird, but I was like, okay, that person would never say that. Something I did think was interesting is that Giuseppe's mom was there for 2 seconds.
3-episode arc, I guess.
She had a really weird accent. I guess they're really playing up the, like, sometimes she's Italian, sometimes she's nothing, because she just sounded like Patty for chunks of it. She's super rich, and Giuseppe in turn is also super rich because she wants to buy Giuseppe a large-scale queer artist like Basquiat, large scale for his bedroom. Literally. I'm like, okay. I mean, that had to do with nothing.
No, I think they probably could book Garber and Lapone on the same day. So they're like, let's figure out something that these two can be together.
They should have had them sing.
Yeah, actually, well, what?
Revelation. They should have had them both at the karaoke party and had them get horny for each other.
Oh, they should hook up. Patty, I remember in an interview recently said that like one of the first shows she saw on Broadway was Sweeney Todd, and she was like obsessed with it. And he was in it. Victor Garber was the original Anthony in Sweeney Todd. So that was kind of cute to see. Speaking of the Vertigo, somebody up here said, why did they even let Charlotte walk home alone? All great questions. The way the writers are talking around, they're like, so Charlotte does have vertigo. I mean, that's probably what this is, right? Like, they're making it very obvious that Charlotte does not. This isn't vertigo.
I was like, does she have a brain tumor or something?
I mean, I would love that.
Amanda's like, here's the ultimate premise. Every character in the show has brain tumors, and that's what's happening. That's why everyone has lost their damn minds.
That would be the only explanation. That's how the whole episode season should end, is they all wake up from like surgery.
I do wonder, like, what's going to be the ultimate, like,
we have 3 episodes left.
Remember Cynthia Nixon, when being interviewed on Watch What Happens Live 2 months ago, was asked by Andy, hey, what's going to be on the finale? And Cynthia, said something like, well, you're going to be very lots of surprises.
Revelations. Didn't she say revelations or something? Or not? She didn't use the word that good. It was like, things will be revealed. A lot will be revealed. Like,
and is it that like Carrie's in a coma? Like, they could do a Roseanne final season situation where Dan is dead, you know?
Sure. Big isn't dead. This is all in Big's brain. Can Chris Noth be uncanceled in the amount of time that they have to write that he wakes up from a coma?
Oh my God, Danielle. It was all a book. Roseanne was right.
What else?
Aiden's funeral. Great idea.
Get him out of here.
My other things on my list.
Hang on. I have a really creepy thing that Michael Patrick King said that I wanted to hear, and everyone in the writers' room you could tell everyone heard him say it, and no one really wanted to jump in, but maybe someone should have been like, maybe let's edit that out. Okay, so when Carrie and Aiden wake up and they're at post-coital and they're like, what time is it? And they're all disoriented. Michael Patrick King is like, that's from that one of my favorite movies, Romeo and Juliet, from like whatever, the 70s, where they're actually like kids in it. And he's like, and you know, they wake up and they don't know what time it is. And he's like, oh, and that Romeo, he's naked and his hair is all tousled and he just looks like a sexy little 12-year-old. He says this. And everyone's like,
what the fuck?
He's like, he looks all sexy and naked and he's like 12 years old. And I was like, that's what this scene was referencing.
I wonder if MPK is behind the blockage of the release of the Epstein files. Jesus, I don't want to make, that's terrible to joke about that. Oh my God. Don't joke about that.
What other topics did you want to talk about?
Okay, one thing I do want to say is, hi guys, it's Pod in the City. We never we just launched right in. We're here every Friday doing live stream, whatever. For right now, we're doing and just like that for the next few weeks, and then we'll see, baby. We'll still be here 2 p.m. EST live on YouTube, exclusive. But there's a way to see this stuff somewhere else, and you can get all of our content basically And that's on our Patreon, patreon.com/podinthecity. Over there at $6 a month, you sign up and you get early ad-free access to our full recaps, which come out Saturdays on podcast places and YouTube places, but they come out Friday for your Patreon. And
yeah, we're recording this right after this today. We use this live as a way to kind of sort out our thoughts, and then we'll get into this episode. We'll release it immediately on Patreon.
Exactly. So, and then we do extra episodes every week too. So like last week, or not last week, one of the weeks we did Vanderpump Rules. We're pumping through the seasons of Vanderpump Rules, season of Smash Girls, and our little cute pillow talk episode where we just shoot the shit.
Yeah, that was a good one actually this week.
And we're going to be doing RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 2. Guys, All-Star Season 10 was on last night, and I do want to talk about it for 2 seconds to make a tiny, because I think we could make like a tiny little clip. There was a moment with freaking Bosco during the how do you burlesque moment. She has these fans. She has these feather fans, right? And she's doing like the typical burlesque moves, and I'm sure what she does is a burlesque thing, but she gets down on the ground, okay? And she's like on her ass, but she has her legs pulled up. And she has one fan behind her and one in front of her. And so you don't see her. And then, there's a part in the song where it's like, hey, and then it's like, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, hey, and she's doing runs. I'm not going to even pretend to do Christina Aguilera runs. She starts doing runs, and then it's like silence, and then it's runs. Well, during the runs, she would like put down the front feather fan and like lip sync behind it and then close it back up during the quiet part or the silent part and then open it back. Guys, just watch it. I can't even describe it as well as it was. I was in my house screaming, jumping up and down, being like, ah!
Also, her boobs are just out the whole time with two pasties on, and those boobs are. I was like, if I got a boob job, I would want exactly that because they're like perfect. Anyway,
guys, spoiler alert quickly in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to tell you.
Don't say a spoiler. Don't say who won. It just aired last night.
Well, just justice for MPB FAG. How about that? I need Nicole. They didn't even have her on the episode at all.
Or Acid Betty.
I'm surprised they didn't. Well, I will say, this isn't really a spoiler, or is it? I don't know. I think that it's kind of ridiculous that out of 18 queens, somehow the ones who've done it multiple times, I'll leave it at that.
Look, we'll talk more about this on our Tuesday roundup that will drop. You guys have to check that out.
We'll have to check that out on Wednesdays. So actually, what you need to do is hit subscribe, hit like, and hit share. Wednesday we'll drop 3 videos. We both are going to be seeing what is it called? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah,
I saw it last night, y'all, and
we'll probably talk about that CEO at the Coldplay concert if no other stories have popped up before then. Okay, let's get back into this. People are asking, what did we think about the alcoholish? What did Lisa Green says? Miranda, start drinking again.
Oh my God. Okay, so the things we did want to talk about. Jay Schwa says, what day does it hit Patreon? Are you talking about the weekly roundup? We're going to post that in full as soon as we record it, probably.
Yeah, so Tuesday evening.
That's usually what we do.
Yeah, put it out there.
Okay. I want to talk about, we finally got what I've been needing and begging for. And that is a knee rub between LTW and Marion, the librarian. Baby, all she needed was a knee rub, and then she had her kale salad, no croutons.
Okay, I feel like it was sexual harassment when he was eating the papaya.
Okay, well, you don't eat a papaya unless you want someone to think you're gonna give them fucking head. I mean,
I know.
It is the vagina fruit. Yes.
And they already did a storyline on that with that guy, that Mr. Pussy, and then he ended with him eating that pooch. God, Marion is he's a little slut.
Oh, he is a little slut.
He wants it.
Also, but I was
Oh, sorry. I didn't think it was I don't think it's fair because Miranda did this to Steve too. When LTW was trying to like get on him when he's like still asleep and it's not fair to do that when like the other person doesn't know what you're doing here. Cause like both of them were kind of using that as like, this is a last ditch effort so that I don't think about this other guy. And like, it's not really fair to George Washington who doesn't realize the stakes that are behind this quickie.
Oh, for sure. I agree. That's a terrible route to go with it. I do think, though, that Marion was really hot. And he does want LTW. I did think it was weird, though, that she like is eating this salad and he's eating the papaya. And weirdly, she's at like sitting at an extra tall desk to where he can be standing behind the desk and she can be standing on one side of the desk and she's sitting on it while he's like spooning the papaya and he's like, you want some? And she's like, well, that seems like a weird lunch to eat. And he's like, well, I just got it on the street or something and I'd love to try new things.
I don't believe that Charlotte would be like, yeah, it's okay. Charlotte has very openly been very like, don't cheat on your
Charlotte.
I'm
concerned for her because her acting has gotten worse. She is walking down the street.
Vertigo thing was so funny. Wasn't that great physical comedy?
No, I just mean her and LTW are walking down the street. LTW is like, yeah, blah blah blah. I don't know, and Charlotte's like, well, I think you should. And then she puts her head down like this and then has no facial expression. It's like, did you think that they were just filming her in this moment?
Oh, like, right. Yeah.
It's like, she did this thing that especially kids will do if you do performing on stage. It's like, if they have a line, they're fully acting. And then if it's not their line, they're just standing there.
Or they're mouthing the words of the other person.
Well, the Vertigo was amazing because we needed that crazy physical calm.
I really do think she does have a brain tumor now that I think of it, because they did keep talking about how great her acting was and how she was saying one thing, but then you could tell that her face. So I feel like they were saying that she was out of character. Also, they were very proud of themselves for moving the storyline along to past Harry's surgery. They're like, we wanted to get the surgery over with so we know that he's going to be okay. So I feel like that's probably another little bait and switch here, is that they're like, well, let's just get Harry's storyline out of the way so that we can end the season on a Charlotte brain tumor. I actually genuinely now think that is the only possible way that this could end, that they could end. Does that make sense? Like you're putting that together, right? And you're like angry about it.
I think the only way it makes sense is if they're all dead or something. The COVID took them all out, and the entire series is
long COVID
Harry on a ventilator or something. Yeah. God, from like, okay, not to make light of then COVID. I really though was into Marion and LTW. And LTW actually was very funny this episode. There were a couple moments I thought she was pretty funny when she's like eating the salad. I know, and it's very low-hanging fruit here, but it's like, okay, she did a couple funny moments. How about, let's get to it. Miranda's drinking. The way that they handled all of that.
Crazy. Honestly, I think you guys should go listen to the way they address this, because they're like, you texted me because you were like, oh, I'm listening to it. And then you made a point where you were like, one person says, no one wants to be an alcoholic. Entire room burst into laughter. And so that was pretty much the tone of how they were addressing. But I think this clip starts off the conversation. I think this is the correct clip. Forgive me if I'm wrong, because I don't have these labeled.
And, this is a very, very old relationship, so there's a lot of water under the bridge. And we have a very, very new relationship also in this episode that is kind of going over some treacherous waters, which is Miranda and her relationship to her drinking. That is the old relationship that she's got to deal with in this. I always was worried that we weren't doing justice to Miranda's drinking problem. Did anybody else have that problem, Julie?
Well, we wanted to both be true to the reality of it. We didn't want to keep waving a flag and doing a little "I'm an alcoholic" bell every time the girls are out drinking. Like you see, she has mineral water.
And the bottle's always on that table, and it's always mineral
and
water.
Phony Negronis.
Yeah.
Phony Negronis, I'll say with my Philadelphia accent.
Phony
But
Negroni.
we knew that it's under there. It never goes away. And what a perfect vehicle of joy who enjoys drinking.
Blah, blah, blah. First of all, okay, so you do know that it is always... There's a lot to unpack. They just really, they go on to talk about how they didn't want to beat a dead horse. And they're like, they genuinely say, after that first time that Miranda attends that AA meeting, we figured, well, we don't want to keep harping on it. That it wouldn't be an interesting storyline. They're like, we didn't want to offend any alcoholics out there who might be watching it. It's like, and have us not feel like we're seen or understood at all.
Well, what's terrible here too is like, from a story perspective, this episode is along the premise that is Miranda I don't know how to dance around that, but is Miranda an alcoholic in the way that she can have a drink and she won't relapse, I guess, or like won't go overboard. I don't know how to describe that. Like have a drink out with friends or whatever. And unfortunately, the show didn't set up enough that she had true alcoholism that like...
Right. Agree, because they were too scared to touch it. So now I believe that she isn't an alcoholic. She probably could have another drink.
That's what I was going to say.
Quit by just pouring all her bottles down the sink.
Me watching this makes me feel like, oh, okay, well, she could be a person who just could have one drink, because it never truly showed her like in any kind of level of alcoholism. It never was hinted at before. It never anything. In fact, it was like, from my recollection, again, we would watch season 2 and fever dream it out. It was the clanking of her bag and then being like, I have this bag of empty bottles. Like, it was not...
What even bad happened though? She didn't and then it had her going to her first day of university, and so she went to the bar and waited for it to open for 15 minutes because she needed like some liquid courage. Because to me, that isn't even really a sign of alcoholism either. That's more like, oh, I want to drink before this fucking class. Like they didn't make it into a storyline at all.
That's too where the White Writers Room podcast does a disservice to themselves, because they're putting answers to things, then making it make less sense, and then making me be like, okay, so you tried to underplay it, but now you want to bring it back up, and you're playing it in a way of making it funny. In fact, on the Writers Room podcast, in the 2 minutes I listened to, they compare it to Miranda and her with that chocolate cake that she pours the soap on. Yeah. They're like, oh my God. Okay. So
for addiction
we all know that she can't resist, that chocolate cake. So we just thought it'd be great to play with that idea, and then MPK's like, and then in the final edit, when they were having Miranda go back and forth of like, should I take it out? Should I not? Oh, they were playing this like do 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 do, and he himself, which I was like,
you did hear this part, the clanking thing? Audio?
No.
Oh.
It was the music he was referencing.
Yes, that's what I mean. But he was like, but with the bottle going down, he said you need to change it back to a funny, jaunty, funny.
I think that ruined the scene. I think that actually completely. So if it had, first of all, what I thought was weird in my rewatch, okay, and this is after because I did rewatch it because it was, we buried the lead. It was only 30 minutes long. Hallelujah.
Gorgeous. Yes.
Mind you,
luxurious.
Unfortunately, it felt shortened.
It felt very long. I told John, I'm like, did you watch it yet? Because it seems like a fever dream. And John's like, oh, it's only 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's why. But it went straight from the clanking, derp, 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 derp to like, to Carrie writing. And I remember being like, is it over?
Exactly. Now, in my juxtaposition of the rewatch, they play, which MPK has said was a conscious choice. In fact, in the first version, when Miranda's like, "Should I drink it? Oh, I'll throw it out." It was more downtrodden music, and he was like, "No, we need the audience something so they can laugh."
Because he's too scared of it. He's too scared to touch it.
With that in your head, y'all, the first scene first of all, why is Carrie carrying the big suitcase up the stairs? Aiden is like just handling these like small little like carry-on bags. He's carrying this freaking military bag like up the stairs. First of all, there's no real music played there. But then when Carrie opens the closet to be like, "Here, you can use this one," perfect opportunity to play some little blah, 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 some little underscoring. There's nothing until her and Aiden start kissing, and this is the music that's played. Blah, blah, blah.
Like romantic, like we're supposed to be like swooning.
Not even romantic. It almost sounds like a funeral dirge or whatever.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, maybe they did that on purpose, but I'm just confused why you put that music with that, and then you put with Miranda's alcoholism. Oh, ha 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 ha! Hilarious.
I think that another thing that I said to you last night, because I was walking a dog and I was so excited you were actually like actively texting me for a few minutes, but I was like, if you, because Miranda portrays it as, it's not very sexy, like embarrassed about beating alcoholism on her first try. I'm like, you would be telling everyone that. No one's really, well, maybe people are ashamed, but I feel like people who actually have beat it want to tell people about it. It's not something to be ashamed of.
Well, Kate says if Miranda considers herself an alcoholic, she absolutely should tell Joy. And now, though, guys, hey, Miranda says that would be a quote unquote buzzkill.
I don't think it would be, though. I feel like the person would be like, "Oh, wow, this person has an interesting story."
I also think that Joy, who is very intelligent, would literally not walk in and be like, "This is my favorite gin. You can't get it anywhere," blah blah blah, and then be like, "Do you want some?" And then Miranda's like, "Oh, I don't drink," and she's like, "Doy, I forgot you don't drink."
And later at the party, "Here, I'm gonna use the bathroom. Hold my champagne." Although I related to that part where you're like, I always grab people's drinks that are drinking around me and I just like smell.
Okay, fine. But that was then also in the Writers Room podcast. They say that moment is used for funny, like to be hilarious. Because Charlotte, you know what, you guys? Charlotte's ultimate fear is Miranda relapsing, according to the Writers Room podcast.
W cheating on her also friend George Washington.
No, that's no biggie.
No, do it. Do
it. Marion's hot.
Can we wrap this up by let's do a little bookend here of the text you sent me about the deodorant.
Okay.
And then I'll go ahead and play
the very first text. Amanda sent me a text last night being like, "Have you watched yet? It's a fever. I feel like this was a fever dream." My response is, wait, oh God, prediction. MPK saw a woman putting deodorant on in a restaurant and thought it was just the wildest thing ever and had to include it in the show. Because there is a moment where, mind you, Adam, who is a grungy gardener who himself does not wear deodorant, is simply aghast that there's a woman putting deodorant on in the restaurant. Which,
I wanted to hear your guys' reaction to this, because that wouldn't even faze me. Maybe because I was like in theater, so you're in dressing rooms a lot with other people, but it's just, I wouldn't think that I wouldn't even clock it.
It's strange, but
is it?
He says that it is worse than seeing someone clip their toenails on the subway.
Yeah, they were cackling about it. And so were Seema and Adam and Seema were, but also so were the writers. Well, do you want
Seema is like, "Did I just see that?" And he's like, and he turns around.
Now I've seen everything.
Oh my God.
I've seen it all.
I can't believe it. Now, if the reason I wrote, prediction, they had seen it, is because if you listen back to it, maybe you guys are new here. If you're new here, hit like, hit subscribe so that you can find us every Friday, see all of our other stuff, watch it when you see it come up in your feed, baby.
Jay Schwa says, I bet he's got a hot take on breastfeeding in public too.
He's like, just don't do it, ladies.
Gross. For your some of us are gay.
There's gotta be a bathroom stall you can do that in.
Do you think it would be weird if I was sitting there in a restaurant and you saw me like just do this?
Well, like, the lady is like
being very, but I also don't even think that she's doing something good. She's doing something hygienic.
I wouldn't care. I just don't believe. I don't believe this woman, the woman they have doing it, would do it. I don't believe it would also happen in this dark, moody, like restaurant. I don't know. Maybe in a diner or something.
Also, we were supposed to know that we were supposed to put together the passage of time that Seema and Adam have been now dating for a while, because when they're at the art gallery later, he's wearing a suit and his hair is brushed. I'm like, so you have an episode that you cut too much. You could have extended this into 42 minutes and actually shown us all the shit you think that we're picking up on as we're watching this.
You could literally have a 2-minute scene. Actually, it would have probably been a better way to establish that he doesn't wear deodorant than watching a woman do it in a restaurant. Have them at the store. Oh yeah, Jay Schwa, if you're not actually watching, Adam is the gardener. Duncan is the neighbor who lives underneath Carrie. They're not the same.
Oh my God, here's another thing. Okay, they talk about how Aiden likes to not even humanize Duncan, so he refers to him as Dunkin' Donuts. And then later at the art gallery, he said, we were supposed to catch this. He says, to Seema and Adam, he's like, so you two know that cat that lives down under Carrie? Now he's referring to him as a cat. He doesn't even see him as human. I'm like, that's why you're using that sentence, cat. Can I tell? Okay, let me play this here. John, are you ready? You're going to find
I'm not.
Before this was shot or viewed on television, which was Elisa and I were out at a lovely little cocktail bar in Brooklyn.
This is during the writing season.
This is while we were writing it. And lo and behold, there was a woman in the restaurant, well dressed, who took out
sitting by herself at that time.
Sitting by herself, put on deodorant as if she were in her home bathroom, just getting ready. And
full on.
As you do.
I mean, that is such a wild
we
choice.
couldn't stop
So
laughing.
messy. Yeah.
It was like, what is happening? What is happening to the world?
So
That's
that
going
is
right
the
in.
genesis of how we write. Elisa and Julie come in and go, you will not believe what happened. We saw this woman doing full-on roll-on deodorant in a public place. We all start laughing. Somebody says that has to go in the show. Then we have to diagnostically figure out where can that go in the show. And we need to show Adam and Seema having sex.
And then we jam it in.
Then we go, okay, deodorant sex.
You just told on yourself, MPK. Like, he's just like, this is how we write the show. We
I'm glad they think their show is funny. At least 5 people do. Because what in the fuck?
Right. Because they're writing it for themselves.
What a joke. What an effing joke.
They're still laughing about it, too.
Oh, that was the moment that I thought about that didn't make sense when Adam says something to Seema where he's like, oh yeah, you're roll on or something. And I'm like, I just don't think people say roll on unless you grew up in like the 70s.
Well, if you know what Epstein-Barr was.
Well, exactly. I hate it. Great. I guess they had the hottest, sexiest sex scene in all of Sex and the City history.
Oh, also Adam's last name is Karma. Isn't that funny?
See, was the point that like then her name would be Seema Karma?
No, it wasn't even that like deep of a joke. They were just like, it would just be, we wanted to give him a crazy name. It was so funny. This is it. Like they don't have.
You are kidding. You are kidding.
No, I'm never kidding about the writers. I don't kid about that podcast.
The last name Karma was just chosen so that he had a weird, silly last name, just cause.
Just to really test Seema.
Well, actually, you know what, Amanda? One day, I was out and I met someone, and their last name was Barma. And I thought, oh my God, that is so silly. You know what? I walked in and I told everyone and they were like, throw it in the show, doll. Get it in there.
In the old days, a cat is a dude. Yeah, that's another good point is they would, because like Aiden would never say that. And Aiden's certainly not saying cat as I'm gonna dehumanize Duncan.
I actually thought him saying cat was
Jerry
one of
Jared.
them.
Recycled story, Jerry Jared. All of these are recycled stories.
I don't know why in your show, if you're intelligent, why you would choose the name Adam if your lead character is named Aiden. I think you're dumb. I just think that's something that makes no sense to me. You should choose a different name than Adam if the other one's name is Aiden.
Right. They also don't look ahead on this stuff. Michelle says the humor of the $200 million man. Yeah, I know. And then Jay Schwa says they didn't know they were recycling them, though. Exactly. And anyone that works on the set or in the writer's room certainly isn't allowed to address these things to him. Oh, you already, this was already a whole storyline.
I think it would have made more sense if they said, I can wait for you 5 years. And then she closed the door. And then at the start of season 4, 5 years later, and just like that, 5 years had passed. And then we're at the start. And then this entire season is recognizing that Carrie waited 5 years for a piece of shit that she didn't actually want. And then she's like, oh no, what do I do? I'm 70 and alone.
That would actually be relatable, though, because a lot of people just settle. So this would be her settling.
Well, she already is for her 15-year boyfriend, Aiden.
Well, that's I mean, this episode was so weird and short. But again, the Writers Room podcast really lent a lot of context to this episode. So it filled in a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, that episode, I feel like there's not going to be a lot to talk about. But then hearing how they thought the episode went, really, again, and John floated the idea of us on Patreon recapping Writers Room podcast episodes. And I'm like, well, you know what? I've only listened to this season. So can you imagine if we went back and listened to like the Che Diaz, not stand-up comedy concert, that episode? I would love to hear them talk. Or do you think that it would be too much for you? Like this joke, it's just going to be them laughing at the jokes.
See, I thought it would be kind of funny just to on Patreon, because you can't really we can't just play a full episode of the Writers Room and then sit there making expressions. But we could do it on Patreon because that is just for people. So
we just play the episode and we just sit here and react.
And we're like, what the fuck? And then sometimes we pause it and we're like, wait,
me and Jody do on Monday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you guys would like to see me spiral out and like by the end to be like, my eyes and ears are bleeding. I'm like,
I would do it in a heartbeat. MPK, Jessica Bennett
cried on the last season.
Yeah, MPK cried on the last season of the podcast. Why? What happens in the last season? Does anything even happen?
Probably Che and Tony Danza.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I actually would maybe I will listen to those. I really want to hear what they thought of Che.
I still would be fine bringing Che back. At least Che acknowledged that Miranda was an alcoholic.
If Che had been at the karaoke parties, we'd say this and then have them sing, "I love these lines across my face."
Yeah.
That would
have Holloway. Hey, Mary.
All right, well, we're wrapping it up. So
guys?
Everyone here, stick around and leave a full comment, a real comment, and get the engagement pumping.
In the bottom. Yeah. Write something really controversial that people are gonna rage out on. Also, to get our heads wrapped around it. Okay, if you are not a Patreon member, totally fine. You are going to get on Saturdays our new episode of the full recap of the episode. Okay, then on Wednesday we're going to drop our 3 videos. For our weekly roundup. You'll see those on our YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribed. And we will drop in the podcast places. Oh, well, actually, we won't. But if you're a Patreon member, you can get early ad-free access to that, our extra episodes, which this week is our Pillow Talk episode, and join us again every Friday on YouTube, 2 p.m. EST. Wow.
This is exclusive. This live is exclusive to YouTube. So get over here. And we're kind of on our road. Let's put another checkpoint. Let's try to, like, we're on our road to 1,500 subscribers this week. Okay. We can do that this week.
Yeah. But could you guys help us get to extra subscribers? Especially if you guys like listening, could you share? That's really important. Share it somewhere. And you know what you can do is you can push share and you can push copy link and you can text it to someone. Like text someone our YouTube video, and them just clicking it through gives us more engagement. So we love you guys, and we'll say Amanda and I are happy that we're doing just the one live a week, and that it gives us flexibility to pre-record our other stuff a little bit more, and it's much easier and better for us. So we like you guys so much. Please hit like, hit subscribe, hit all the shit, and leave us a comment, baby. And keep an eye out for our full recap tomorrow. Or if you're on Patreon, look for it in, like, I don't know, 2 hours.
2 hours. Easy.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Love you.